to consider reports and prepare reports prepared by council officers and to make recommendations regarding these reports to the monthly council meeting. Council delegates on the Finance and Governments Committee are Mayor Kennedy, Councillor Orgo, Chairperson, Councillor Boland, Councillor Chandler, Councillor Edgecombe and Councillor Jewett. A statement of ethical affairs or obligations. All councillors undertook an oath or affirmation at the beginning of their term of office and declared to undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of Broken Hill, local government area and the city of Broken Hill, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment. Live streaming and recording of meetings. This committee meeting has been live streamed via YouTube and recorded and published online via Council's website. To those present in the meeting today, by attending in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The chairperson and or the general manager have the authority to pause the live stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory or otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Participants are advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour or commentary. We call for apologies and Councillor Jewett is an apology. Do we have a mover? Move, Mayor Kennedy. Seconded, Councillor Chandler. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Leave of absence applications, there are nil. Call on the Mayor to do the prayer.
Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council. Direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Thank you. I call on Councillor Edgecombe for the acknowledgement of country.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet today, the land of the Willakali people, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you. Councillor Chandler.
We take time to reflect, remember and honour the over 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919-1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and future.
Thank you, Councillor. We move on to item 7, confirmation of the minutes. Do we have a mover? Councillor Kennedy, Mayor Kennedy. Seconder, Councillor. Speak on it, Mayor Kennedy. No. Any comment? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Call for disclosures of any interest. Disclosures of interest. No disclosures of interest. Reports. Item 1, Broken Hill City Council report number 190/25 dated October the 2nd, 2025. Disclosures by councillors and designated persons returns. There are 4 recommendations there.
I'll move the recommendations as written.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Boland. Speak to it, Mayor Kennedy.
No, pretty straightforward. It's just what we go through every year.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 2, adoption of the revised councillor support policy. Broken Hill City Council report number 191/25 dated September 24, 2005. Adoption of the revised councillor support policy. There's been a correction that Lisa pointed out to me. You can only have one drink. Councillor Chandler
I'll move the
Makes-
recommendation with the replacement attachment for
All
item
right.
2.
Seconder? Boland, councillor Boland. Speak to it.
Just that I agree with the policy. Councillors do go away and they do have a meal, and often councillors will have a drink with that, but you certainly don't, as a council, be paying for people to go out drinking.
Exactly. Further speakers? All those in favour? Carried. Item 3, Broken Hill City Council report number 192 / pardon? What was that?
I'm against item 2.
Oh, I didn't see you. You voted against.
Just before, just through the chair, if I can ask, is there a reason? So, because we may be able to adjust it, because that's the point of being in a council meeting, is to debate. And I'd love to hear something negative to the policy.
Sure. I don't think we should be paying for councillors to have alcohol at these events if councillors are already receiving a councillor allowance that they can use to purchase that.
So councillors don't receive an allowance. So what happens is councillors go away. Part of the so no allowance. The only your accommodation's paid for. If there's meals that are bought, they're paid for. What this is saying is if you buy, you're reimbursed, in fact, or you can take a council credit card away. So there's actually no allowance that councillors are given when they're away.
So a lot of organisations don't pay for alcohol for members. So I just believe that we shouldn't be paying for alcohol for councillors. That's
Yeah, no, I understand that, but there is no allowance. You don't get
okay.
an
No, I
allowance.
was talking about if councillors needed to purchase, they felt like they needed to purchase alcohol. We receive a monthly allowance, like us personally, that we could use that money.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's not an allowance to go away.
Okay, yeah. No, it's our remuneration, but I just believe alcohol. I don't believe council should be paying for alcohol at these events. That's just, that's why I voted against it. So that's my
Yeah,
opinion.
no, I'm just interesting. So should we be getting soft drinks? Should they be paid for?
But perhaps with our meal, yes, because I understand council pays for meals, which is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, but should we be paying for soft drinks?
Sure, I think that's very different than alcohol.
No, I'm just asking these questions because I want to
Well, through
get
the
to the
chair,
bottom of it.
through the chair, I don't see any difference between if you're going to have a drink, what type of drink it is, shouldn't make any difference as far as I'm concerned.
Just through the chair, I'm not debating. I'm just trying to
No.
get to the bottom by asking a series
Yeah.
of questions. Why, specifically, the paying of a drink at a meal time is different, whether you drink a $5 glass of water or a $5 glass of soft drink or a $5 alcohol beverage. So I'm just actually asking questions. I'm not debating. Every councillor's got a right
I understand
to an
that.
opinion. I just want to get to the bottom of what the actual opposition is to it. Is it because of a dislike for alcohol, or is it the
absolutely
cost
not.
of?
No.
Is it the cost of alcohol compared to a soft drink, or is it the cost of, for example, so if someone buys for example, Stubby Zero, which is non-alcoholic, which costs more than a stubby of alcoholic beer. So is it the cost, or is it the opposition to alcohol?
It is
think-
absolutely not the opposition to alcohol. Okay, I'll have a question because I actually don't know the answer to this. If anyone can enlighten me. When council staff go away to conferences, do we pay for alcohol?
It would be surely it'd be the same thing if it's in a meal. It's paid for. And what people need to also understand is most of the time when you get the meal, it comes over as one bill without a breakdown of drinks. So I just want to know: is it through the chair? Is it the cost of the alcohol beverage, or is it because it's alcohol? Or
I would be leaning more towards the cost. It's not because it's alcohol.
So then if it's
Well,
the-
actually, no. It's not, as you asked before about an opposition to alcohol. It's not an opposition to alcohol. It's an opposition to council paying for councillors to have alcohol at these conferences. It's only my personal
no,
opinion.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not debating you. I'm asking
Yeah.
you just because I want to know exactly what your reasoning is, so that when we do debate it,
Yeah.
I'm able to, or councillors are able to debate, and this is why we have them
Of course.
have these standing committees, so that we can thrash out things in a more generalised, so that we actually understand each other's position. So when we do debate, the community can actually hear the debate that councillors make, rather than just voting. Because what seems to happen is when people do this, if you don't get to the bottom of what's said, suddenly things can go out to the media that are completely different to what's said in a council meeting or a standing committee meeting. So your opposition is that the one drink that some councillors may get during their meal, where, for example, some councillors drink Coke, which will be paid for, or even a non-alcoholic stubby of beer, for example, will be paid for, and as many as you like, not just one. You can have 100 soft drinks if you like, or 100 non-alcoholic beverages that could be alcohol-free but still sold as an alcohol. So your opposition is that it is alcohol. You do not think that councillors should be
having free
alcohol.
No, I believe councillors can drink alcohol if they'd like. I just believe they should pay for it themselves. For example, I've gone to local council events, council run events, such as things at the art gallery, where I paid for it myself, such as last week for that national opening. At those events, councillors don't receive free alcohol. So why is that different at a...
Are you out to dinner? I don't
No,
understand. I don't understand the comparison there. This policy is when you are away at a conference and you are at dinner, you can have one alcohol beverage with your meal. And
What did it say before?
But let's face it, what this policy is about is, rather than councillors go up and each go pay for their drinks, what they're doing is it gets bought and comes out. So when you have people go around taking an order at a table and they say, would you like a rump steak with that? Was your meal a rump steak? What would you like to drink with that? I'll have a stubby of Colton. I'll have a glass of Coke. So the bill's paid for at the end as a combined bill. The problem is, if you don't have this, when we go to the end, oh, no, we can't pay for that. We actually have to get one councillor to pay for $4.50 for the stubby bought, or the glass of wine another councillor bought. So we'll be breaking up a bill where this is meant to streamline, make it easy because there's one credit card used. So what we'll end up getting is a series of credit cards with a series of bills when we go out to dinner. And that's really why I'm asking the question. If someone has a complete aversion to alcohol and thinks that it's morally wrong to be drinking alcohol, I can understand it. But for
That is not why.
For someone, well, that for me, and that's why I'll argue it strongly at the meeting, because unless someone has an ethical opposition to alcohol, to say that it's financial.
I believe financial, because alcohol is on average more expensive than.
Well,
however, the argument could also be then you could have as many soft drinks as you like. But why hasn't it been in the policy? Well, actually, I actually don't know. Can I ask a question through the chair? What was the policy previously about councillors getting free alcohol at the conferences? Was there anything in there, or did they pay for it previously?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. I mean, sometimes in the conferences.
Just through the chair.
I'm new and just learning. I'm only new. It's my first.
The reason this has been changed is solely for the reason that I said. It's certainly not about someone trying to get out of paying $6 for an alcohol beverage as opposed to getting a non-alcoholic, for example, Colton Dry, which will be free for $6.50 as opposed to $6 for an alcoholic beverage. But the problem is, as stated, when you go to pay that bill, it'll be broken up as opposed to, and what happens when you usually go away to a conference or whatever, someone goes up and pays for the meal. If we all go out, 6 or 7 people go out, one person goes up, orders all the meals, drinks, and pays for the drink. So what will happen is, I won't do that. You'll have to get your own drink. You'll have to break it up. And then it becomes a time-consuming effort, which goes back to the reason why this was brought up in the first place, to try, and it's certainly not about a councillor saving $6 with a meal.
No, well, the system, as I understand it, has always been that you could have a drink with your meal, and it's the responsibility for all drinks after that, whether they be alcoholic, coffee, tea, or whatever, are your own responsibility.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm only new, just trying to get a better understanding.
No. So all expenses are covered when councillors go away. For example, people in the past have claimed bottles of water, brought in receipts and claimed bottles of water for their for the cost of, I don't know why, but often when I go away, and often when I go away with councillors, we don't claim most of the stuff we go away, because we just pay for it rather than use credit cards, which can be an inconvenience because you're bringing back receipts. But some people claim all their expenses.
What, bottle of water?
People have claimed bottles of water before.
Well, I personally agree with the majority. Just recently, for instance, we went to Cobar to meet the minister, and at the end of the day, halfway through the day, we had a drink before we started, and before we left, I was left with an account for 6 people, and that's an expectation that you meet out of your own. That's the way I've always addressed it. I mean, I can understand if you've got a grudge against, or a poor view of alcohol, which a lot of people have, but I don't think it should come into discussion at the council as such. But anyway, the vote is clear. The intention appears to be clear, that one person is against having alcohol, or says against the cost, but often the cost of coffee will be dearer than beer. So if it's against the cost, it's against all drinks, because some non-alcoholic drinks are very expensive. So we have a vote where three councillors are in favour and one is against. Councillor Blake Edgecombe.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that conversation and clarity. Yeah, I just wanted to note that it was around council purchasing alcohol for councillors. That is all. It was nothing to do with an aversion to alcohol. It had nothing to do with soft drink or anything else. It was purely around that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. But it is good to have these conversations. I think it's important. So next time I'll have the
discussion.
Yeah, so
discussion.
just to write a reply to that as the
Thank you, Chair.
the move of as the policy. For me, and have been going away with a number of councillors before. Councillors will often pay for things out of their own pocket. Alcohol hasn't been in the council policy, but councillors will often buy their own meals, their own lunches without claiming it back on council. They'll pay for taxi fares. They'll pay for all sorts of things. For example, the instance you're talking about where you bought councillors and people from other councils drinks, some of those alcoholic, some of those non-alcoholic, but you paid for it. Didn't think to claim a receipt, even though some of those drinks were non-alcoholic drinks and you were more than entitled to claim those back. You didn't do it because as a councillor, it's not about saving a few dollars or doing. People go away and often are out of pocket. A lot of councillors go away and they lose money because they're not being paid. When they go away, they're giving up a position in their job, or if you own your own business, you're paying someone else to look after your business. What this policy was about, and this is why it says here, meals not included in registration fees, etc. One alcoholic drink per councillor consumed with an evening meal. As explained when asking those questions, this is about the ease of one person going up with one credit card when there's a group around a table, when a waitress comes up to a table and says, "What would you like?" You go through your menu, you give what you like from that menu and what would you like to drink. One says a glass of Coke, one says a non-alcoholic cold and dry, one says a cup of coffee, someone says a beer. When it goes to pay, the person going up there to pay with the council credit card then says, "Oh, you're going to have to break that up because one of those drinks is alcoholic and we cannot do that under our policy." So the bill gets broken up for $5 or $6, inconvenience to the councillors that are out there and inconvenience to the restaurants you're at.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I believe this is a good policy as it's written personally, because I can recall as far back when I worked on the council, and not too far back, even when I'd finished on the councillors and staff were paid an amount of money per day and didn't have to account for it. So we've gone from that can be, and some people wouldn't spend any of it and bring it all home. And the thing is that this gives a bit of flexibility, and it tightens up the overall ability of the support policy. It's not the sort of policy that you can go away and get yourself drunk or anything like that on. It's a policy that is, as far as I'm concerned, makes very good sense, particularly when you look back at where we've been over the years, from being paid a handsome allowance for every day, and sometimes people were away for a week or more, and you didn't have to account for any of it. So we've gone from that, which is a lay down misère for some people, to this particular policy, which I thought, in the minds of an average person, reasonable person in the street, would think one beer with a drink is fine, or one alcoholic drink, whatever. But anyway, we have a majority that's moved in favour of it and one that's spoken against and voted against.
You
Yes,
better
Mayor
re-put
Kennedy?
the vote, Councillor Allgate, just because it went into debate, because I called it out of the vote because there was opposition and I wanted to know via questioning.
Yeah, I accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, accept.
So if you could re-put the vote.
We have a final vote.
In favour?
All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Item 3, Broken Hill City Council Report number 192/25, dated October 10, 2025. Investment report for September 2025.
Move that way.
Seconder, Councillor Chandler. Speak on it.
It's all written there, Chair, and I'll hold discussion over for the council, ordinary council meeting.
Any further comments? Further speakers? All those in favour? Carried. Confidential matters, there are nil. Close of the meeting at 5:58. 5:1. Oh,